In North Madras in the early 1970s, a young man named Kabalin Munirathnam was the son of a boxing legend. He was the son of the Sarpada clan, who were laborers, but wanted to be a professional boxer like his father. That day after work, Kabalin went straight to watch a professional boxing match with his friends. The Professional Boxing Championship is an inter-clan fight. Each clan will have representatives to participate in this prestigious event. In the lightweight class, the Sarpada clan is superior to all clans. But in the main class, since a few years ago, the Sarpada clan has always been defeated by a boxer from the Idyapan clan. The defeat of the Sarpada boxer named Moran became an opportunity for the Idyapan clan to bully the Sarpada clan coach named Rangan Varthiyar. The Idyapan clan invited a bet for the next season's match. If the Sarpada clan lost again, then they were not allowed to compete again in the Professional Boxing Championship. Because he did not accept his clan being insulted, finally Coach Rangan accepted the challenge. Here Kabalin is eager to be able to compete to represent his clan, but Kabalin's mother named Bakiam strongly disagrees if Kabalin becomes a boxer. Because the mother was traumatized by Kabalin's father, who was a boxer but turned into a gangster, and finally had to die because of too many enemies. Kabalin's mother would be very angry if Kabalin was caught watching a boxing match, especially if Kabalin is caught practicing boxing. That's why Kabalin had to bury his dream of becoming a boxer. After Kabalin returned from watching boxing, sure enough, his mother immediately beat Kabalin with a piece of wood. Because Kabalin was considered insubordinate and did not want to obey his mother, finally the mother decided to marry Kabalin to another village girl named Mariamma, starting from the fiancé first. This was done in the hope that Kabalin would be more mature and have responsibilities to the family and not think about boxing anymore. After the event, the scene changes, showing Coach Rangan, who wants to choose a fighter who will represent the Sarpada clan for Fight Vampuli, a fighter from the Idyapan clan in the match. There are two candidates here, Vitrisvan, who is none other than Coach Rangan's own son, and also Raman, Coach Rangan's student. Long story short, Coach Rangan prefers Raman over Vetri, because Vetri is considered to have a careless attitude. And the training of Raman began, but it seems that Raman's training results are not as expected by Coach Rangan. The coach also scolded Raman many times in training because the results were very bad. Because he was scolded too often, Raman and his father became hurt and did not want to practice anymore. Coach Rangan began to get confused because his boxer always skipped training, until one day Kabalin and his mother came to deliver Kabalin's wedding invitation letter to the training ground. At that moment, Rangan wanted to go and see his student who had skipped training for a long time. Here Kabalin, who could not dare to see his idol coach walking, finally drove Rangan on his bicycle. On the way, Kabalin shared his admiration for Coach Rangan. Kabalin revealed that he was fanatical about Coach Rangan. They reached Raman's house. Rangan was shocked to see that his boxer had been trained by someone else. Not only that, Raman and his family belittled Rangan's training and made Coach Rangan hurt and left. The matter reached the ears of Rangan's son, Vetri. Hearing this made Vetri anger, then invited Raman to duel in the ring. Coach Rangan, who knew about it, became very angry because Rangan did not want competition in one clan. But here Raman and his family underestimated Rangan. Coach Rangan left because he didn't want the problem to get any longer. Rangan's departure was followed by Vetri, who tried to apologize to Rangan because all of this was his plan. On the other hand, Kabalin, who did not accept his coach being humiliated by Raman, then challenged Raman to fight in the ring. Here Raman refused and even scoffed at him because Kabalin was not a boxer, but Kabalin managed to provoke Raman, so Raman wanted to fight Kabalin. Arrogantly, Raman said he would defeat Kabalin with just one hand. Rangan, who got this information, immediately decided to return to the training ground to break them up. But it was too late, because Kabalin's fight against Raman had already begun. At the beginning of the fight, Kabalin looked a little overwhelmed by Raman, because Kabalin was not used to fighting. But over time, Kabalin began to feel accustomed, then managed to provide resistance to Raman. In the end, Raman fell. Then Rangan, who saw it, was finally enlightened and had the idea to make Kabelan as a substitute for Raman for the main match later. In the evening after the incident, Kabelan was immediately scolded by his mother. This time, Kabelan was beaten with a broom. This time, Kabelan asked his mother for understanding, because all of that had to be done to maintain the dignity of his teacher, who had been insulted by Raman. The next day at Rangan's training ground, he had a visitor from Japan to discuss their match, because they heard the news that Raman could not compete anymore. Here Rangan says that the one who will replace Raman is Kabelan, but the Japan clan and other clans were very doubtful and underestimated Kabelan because he was considered an amateur. Especially Rose from the Japan clan, he was very against it. Not only that, Rose also underestimated Kabelan completely. Here Rose even opposes Kabelan to fight against him first, to prove his worthiness against the main fighter, the Vambuli. Rose is a fighter who has a dance style that is quite calculated. Hence Rose's nickname, the Dancing Rose. But now that the deal was done, Kabelan's strenuous training began. The more days, Kabelan looked more and more skillful and good at boxing. But Rose was not to be outdone when it came to training. They both practiced very hard. On the night before the match, Coach Rangan asked Kabelan not to go home and sleep in the gym. All this was because Rangan was worried that Kabelan would get attacked by the enemy. The coach also asked Vetri to take care of Kabelan tonight. Midnight came, and sure enough, a group of people attacked Kabelan. But what was even more surprising was that Vetri also attacked Kabelan. Vetri did all this because he was jealous of Kabelan, because his father prefers Kabelan to represent the clan rather than his own son. Coach Rangan, who found out about it, was furious with Vetri. Then Vetri expressed regret and apologized. Long story short, morning came and the battle began. At the beginning of the match, Rose looked superior with his dance style, which was really difficult. But after that, Kabelan began to get used to the ring, and in the second round, Kabelan made Rose start to get cornered. In the end, Kabelan managed to win. Because of Kabelan's victory, the Japan clan and others finally accepted Kabelan's challenge, and will organize their fight between Kabelan and Vambuli. The scene changed after winning the match and already having the capital for marriage. Kabelan finally carried out his marriage. One afternoon, Kabelan and Vambuli are doing a photo shoot for the match promo. They are seeing here Kabelan looks more confident to face Vambuli. After that, Kabelan resumed heavy training. While Kabelan was focused on training Mariamma, Kabelan's wife began to feel that she was not getting any attention from Kabelan. On the other hand, Raman and his father turned out to still have a grudge against Kabelan, who had humiliated him. In the afternoon, they planned something for Kabelan in his fight later to prevent Kabelan's victory. Long story short, the day of the main party fight between Kabelan and Vambuli arrived. Epic boxing battles ensued. But at the end of the match, when Kabelan was to win with one more punch, suddenly Raman's vengeful father made a scene. He ordered his troops to throw a chair at Kabelan and hit him right on the head. The situation became rowdy and more chaotic. In addition, there was a Rangan coach who was a cadre of the DMK party, who was considered to be against the new Indian government at that time. And because of this riot, Kabelan had to be rushed to the hospital and failed to win, even humiliated like that. Sometime later, Vetri came to Kabelan and he invited him to do business. All this is because Coach Rangan has gone to jail and they must have another income. On the way, they met Raman's father, who was eating. At first, Kabelan didn't want to make a fuss and just wanted to eat. But because the situation was still not good with resentment, finally Raman's father provoked Kabelan. As a result, the commotion occurred again here, which caused Raman's father to be injured due to Kabelan's rage. Fortunately, Raman's father did not die, but Kabelan and Vetri had to stay in prison for 6 months. Kabelan and Vetri were released from prison and wanted to mediate with Raman's family. He did this because they are one clan. But instead of getting good things and peace, the commotion happened again here. Kabelan became increasingly violent and started to take over Raman's father's alcohol business. Since then, Kabelan has also started getting drunk frequently. Kabalin, who likes to get drunk, has even now dared to fight against his mother. Without realizing it, Kabalin has become a gangster, just like his father. Until one night when Kabalin was drunk. Suddenly he was attacked by several people, and fortunately there was his wife who could help him. Since that incident, Kabalin began to realize that his actions so far could endanger his children and wife. Kabalin began to repent, apologizing to his mother and wife. He promised to leave his bad habits and stop doing that business anymore. The scene changes to the day when Kabalin and Vetri pick up Coach Rangan, who has just been released from prison. Here, Coach Rangan is surprised to see the changes in Kabalin, whose stomach has now become distended because he has never practiced. In the evening, Kabalin, Coach Rangan, and other friends went to watch the boxing match between Vambuli and Raman. It was predictable that Raman would be easily defeated by Vambuli. Vambuli looked arrogant and again made fun of and challenged Coach Rangan. Coach Rangan, however, did not care and tried to leave him. But here Kabalin, who did not accept Coach Rangan being insulted, then replied to Vambuli's words by telling him to feel ashamed of his victory. Because according to Kabalin, if Vambuli fights Raman, it is actually not a balanced fight. On the other hand, Kabalin's wife was seen lamenting her fate because she was often left behind by Kabalin. But soon Kabalin came home and apologized to his wife. Their relationship was restart again. Morning came, and then came the boxing agent. He said that there was a challenge from Vambuli to have a boxing match with Kabalin. All this was triggered by Kabalin's action yesterday, which humiliated Vambuli. Kabalin initially refused, but because he got support from his wife, Kabalin finally accepted the challenge. Kabalin also asked Coach Rangan for permission, but Coach Rangan did not agree. However, because even Vambuli continued to discredit Kabalin, the coach still did not give his blessing. Kabalin accepted the challenge, even without Rangan's blessing. The photo session began. There was a striking difference in the way Vambuli looked athletic and fit, while Kabalin was too bloated and tummy, and after the photo session ended, heavy training began. The drastic drop in performance was very noticeable. During the first sparring match, Kabalin could easily beat Raman, but now Raman was beating Kabalin to a pulp. Kabalin was devastated. He went back to his mother's house and begged her forgiveness for what he had done. His mother was angry and did not want to forgive him. But because Kabalin kept crying and whining about his suffering during boxing to his mother, her heart was touched. In the end, his mother forgave him. Not only that, the mother also did not accept her son being insulted and humiliated in the world of boxing. Finally, Mom told Kabalin to go to the sea to meet his late father's friend named Bidi Rayapan. He was a former boxer of the same age as Kabalin's father. After that, Kabalin and Bidi met. Heavy training at the seaside began. Until the night before the match, Kabalin and his wife decided to sleep in the middle of the sea to avoid being attacked like what happened in their first match. The day of the match arrived. When he was about to leave for the location, it turned out that Kabalin was still being attacked by his father Raman's men. Vetri came and became a savior for Kabalin, until Kabalin reached the location and the fight took place. From round 1 to round 4, the match was fierce, but at the end of the 4th round, one punch managed to injure Kabalin's hand and another punch managed to land on Kabalin's face, making Kabalin fall and almost lose. But Coach Rangan came and gave him support, so Kabalin was able to get back up. Coach Rangan not only provided support, but also treated Kabalin's injured hand and gave Kabalin advice. The 5th round was started. Kabalin now began to take control of the match. But in the 10th round, Vambuli regained control and beat Kabalin to a pulp. Kabalin almost lost consciousness. His wife could only offer support as she cried tears of joy at the sight of her husband, who was almost unconscious. However, Coach Rangan came back and delivered a hard slap to Kabalin's face. Eventually, Kabalin regained consciousness, and Coach Rangan's motivation gave Kabalin the energy to beat Vambuli again. Eventually, Vambuli was cornered and he fell. The 10 count had already happened, and Vambuli could not get up again. Kabalin managed to KO Vambuli. Kabalin won, and the movie was ended.